first place, I was actually sending, what is micro hydro and how it works to create an income for the community. Because as I mentioned, also you see in my abstract, there are two systems, off-grid and on-grid. And the off-grid is actually where you can really increasing the family welfare by putting the energy, electricity, then apart from electrifying the community, you also can create additional income by putting agriculture processing unit, such as making lemongrass oil, palm oil, grinding the coffee, drying all the agriculture product. And then the second scheme is very interesting. When they have excess power, they can sell to the grid. And the money that coming every month to the village endowment fund, it is to create, to fund any activities that has become a consensus among the villagers. Well, this is like, I usually move around, but this is I have to stay. But today, I'm going to talk about more or less on a social entrepreneurship aspect. How this energy could create welfare and justice in the community. As you may understand, there are so many things happening, but it doesn't belong to the local people. Could you click on? This is a. Can you make it quickly because this doesn't run, This is the typical of the people that I think you can see also in the different parts of Asian countries. They all look similar. Those who are actually our future generation that live without electricity. Others coming from different parts. If you see the Indonesian side, maybe no one will have, trying to imagine and have no ideas how large is Indonesia. Indonesia is just like, if you see the size, between Ankara to Dublin, it's huge size. And all scattered, many islands. Actually, you see that, how many islands we have, and how are we going to electrify them? This is such huge work, and we, out of 240 million population, we still have 110 million people with no access to electricity, so you can imagine. Mostly they live in a very remote area, very poor infrastructure, and they scatter. So this is even put additional difficulties in electrifying them. This is the resources that are abundant. Even though not the whole country, but almost many places in the region that you have a hilly area, it's so easy to find this, it's so easy to find this kind of nature resources which easily can be converted to become electricity. This is also another issue. Maybe anyone, what is this? But we are living in a ring of fire. There are too many volcanoes. I know that is creating catastrophe, but volcano, actually they providing us with heat, then you can easily generate electricity. Okay, this is what I believe, that wealth of the community depends on their economic priorities and the control of their economic resources. Let's next slide. This is what I would like to share with you. I'm so sorry, I always stuck because I'm not a politician. I cannot stay in one place and just talk. I would love to move. This is the resources. If you see the resources here, what happened is, to be able, could you just click? Yeah. To be able to utilize the resources, you need financial investment and you need human resources. What usually people or district district headman, local government, anyone who are in power, thinking if you would like to utilize the resources, you always need commercial investment. Is this the right things? But it has been so many years. That's what the word, creating its own economic, using that. What happened if you using the commercial investment? Usually, that approach is commercial business, maximizing profit, and it's very small, left for the community. I think you have to do that quick, yeah? Right. So, what happened to the local welfare? The local welfare is like, well, sometimes you can see it, but sometimes you cannot see it. It's really something that's very hard to find. Then, access, manage, and utilize the resources to the limit as soon as possible. This is what the commercial investment are usually doing that. And finally, the local welfare has only become very small. Those who left is only investor gain and become the investor profit. Then what happened? Become an investor capital. This is just a normal thought of every commercial investment. What happened? With the very limited capability, I can say that. I'm so sorry if I have a government here, but it's true that inefficiency, sometimes corrupted, mostly in developing countries who own big resources, why they cannot make their own people having a good welfare. So, what you see, the local welfare is just gone. Sustainability and local welfare are also questionable. It's what the become big thing is. You see, the richer getting rich. But let's see the other approach. This is what community-based development approach, the social business approach. That's what we are here for. Looking at the same thing. We still need financial, but we also need human resources. What happens is, if we're using the social investment, which we trying now very hard in Asoka, also in any places that we're looking for angel investors, we're looking for social venture capital, because we would love to utilize the resources using social business approach. The business, we're talking beyond profit and beyond money. We're talking on the benefit, how maximizing local benefit and creating social transformation in the community. Then you can see, of course, the local welfare so transparent, because in the social business, what you're looking for is how we can create as much as possible the welfare that stay in the community level. And if we can create this, what happens is local financing capability can be developed, and local human resource capacity also increase. I have an example actually, but I think we have time that we can show you that the resources can be accessed and managed sustainably, because they know that this is will give benefit for them, so they will using it, in a very wise way. Maybe you have to. Okay, I would like to make comparison, between the social business and commercial business. What is the difference? Of course, the commercial business is talking about profit maximizing, and the social business is talking about benefit maximizing. They're productive-oriented, capital-intensive method and efficiency, uniform and waste product, maximal gain, maximizing earning to get highest margin in earning before income tax, depreciation, and amortization, before interest, But look at the benefit maximizing. Distributed oriented, more labor intensive, extensive method and equilibrium, individual local product, optimal social transformation, adequate earning to fulfill tax, and depreciation for sustainability. Next. Financial loss and principal non-loss. It's the same thing, but invest in profit gain activity is so feasible. But this is invest in activity needed by community. Banking, financial monetary terms used as measuring instrument. But this one is bank interest and other banking financial terms are not applicable. Goal, net profit, capitalization of past disbursement and bank interest. This is the goal is local community benefit, recent and future benefit. You can see this how contrasted. Profit and loss based in the balance sheet, benefit and cost comparison in each activity. Business risk reflected to the net profit gain higher risk equivalent to higher profit. This is what usually the commercial approach. But what we're thinking is business risks are responsible of every party involved. Stronger party will bear more than the less strong party. Trust has to be transformed to material things such as collateral, but trust is the only base of daily activities. No collateral needed. It is very difficult if you want to have a business with the local community as a social entrepreneur, then tell me, most of them are having a very hard time to get loan from the bank. Next. Dividend oriented, non-dividend oriented. Profit margin for every services and product delivered. In every single activities, you have to make sure that the profit is there. But production cost, replenishment, profit margin will be flowback for better services and product. Capital owner priority, of course, limited services and local economy, social economy priority. You create better services, limited accessibility, and greater accessibility. Next. Free market competition and social transformation achievement. You see that direct financial effect, indirect financial effect. Indirect pride and dignity, direct pride and dignity. I give you a very clear example what happened in the Wall Street. When everything was collapsed, the people in the Wall Street, they can still, live very nicely, no problem. But if we are working with the community, if something failed, we'll be really, directly giving a big problem personally to the person like me, like you, maybe like, oh God, like we get something, a big problems. And it's really difficult, for us to do something wrong. This is what the difference is. Next. And then financial mobilization. Owner capital and bank loan and stock market. This is so easy, we can really read it. But we're creating what we call it grassroots mobilization, personal, institutional contribution, and community movement. When the money is there, it's mostly everything is consensus, based on a community consensus, what we are going to do with that. This is what the last part, I would like it, In the commercial business, you can see people, human, single dimension of humanity. That human is a matter of body which has to live in one planet and, in one life cycle in the planet. You see what happened in a social business? People is actually have a multi-dimension, of humanity. So human is a good creature, living organism, have a body and soul. The soul will live forever. Living means productive. Production has to be higher than consumed. This is a single dimension of humanity. But look at that. Living has to be in harmony and gracefully with the surrounding. The more productive, the more fortune. Everyone has its own fortune, uniqueness. Materialism, financial and profit, but you see that. Love, care, anger, sad and emotion feeling. Loose and irregular social network bond. In the social business, tight, uniform, and social network bond. If you have to see this, the way I try to figure out this mathematical equation and balance equations. A and B, plus A, plus B maximizing, and this is like the formula. If you don't have each, this is function of financial vigor and economic values. And it's a function of social justice and sustainability awareness. Like 2H plus SU for, if you're losing like O or S, then it doesn't work. You know, this is, sorry, this is big, complicated, but I think this is what I'm trying to spread, that how, you know, the social entrepreneur thinking in a different paradigm shift. Thank you very much. I hope I don't really take much time. Thank you.
Good morning, friends. I'm sorry, after a nice, slow and precise speech, you're going to listen to someone who's going to talk a lot, very fast. Thanks again for the translator for being patient with me and people who are going to do the slides. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to take you to the aspect of entrepreneurship, how I started, how we evolved, and how we could take the technology to the people. Next, please. So basically, we started as an NGO, but then soon realized that to be an NGO, you require funding. And either you can get funding from government or from philanthropists, which we did not want. So we started our company Gadia Solar to create our own income, to make it a win-win situation where we can have products which are good for the society, make the money out of it and plow back the money for the NGO where we are not answerable to anyone. We can do what we want. Next. So it's what I'm going to show you about is how did we able to make technology come to the villages. It's a day before yesterday I was with my friend Akash. He is manufacturing ASES20101030 solar cooker, and he was talking about the market being limited because here there is no need, it's very expensive. It's the same problem we had in India. The technology we evolved, but then the people could not afford it. So I'm going to take you through how it went, but first I will take you to the story how I evolved. Next, please. As I said yesterday, the biggest problem in the world is cooking with the open fire. 50% of the world population cooks on open fire. Smoke is the third largest killer in the world. So we needed to find solution. Next. There was already a technology called solar box cooker where you could put your cooking vessel and trap the heat and cook with it. But the problem with this technology was that it could not fry with it. It was very slow. So I found out that there was a need for a technology where you can cook fast and you can cook all traditional items. Next. And that's where I, with the help of Dr. Seifert, who was a colleague of mine in Germany, brought a technology to India called SK40, where you put a parabolic dish and the sun's rays are reflected onto the cooking vessel. So because of the concentration, the temperature is 250 degrees centigrade. And now you can cook very fast. You can put a pressure cooker, it will give you whistle in 40 minutes. But the problem with the technology was that people who wanted it, the poor, could not afford it. And people who could afford it did not want it. And why did they not want it? Because it required the woman, the middle class woman, to go out in the sun. So they said, why should we go in the sun? We can cook in the comfort of the kitchen. So they provoked me and said, hey, if you really want to help us, bring a technology where the sun comes in the kitchen where we don't have to go into the sun. So I took it seriously, again went to Germany and with help of Dr. Seifert found out Mr. Scheffler, who had a technology where you put the dish outside and you reflect the light in the kitchen, and now you can cook in the comforts of the kitchen. But the problem is, technology could do what people wanted, but it's not possible to give them in the price they wanted it. Because now instead of one dish, we have two dishes. You have a tracking mechanism, so the dish has to turn automatically along with the sun, so it's like tracking. So it became like a Rolls Royce in solar cooker. So I realized that, okay, I've solved the technology problem, but I have not solved the financial problem. So I started targeting, because ultimately as a company, for me, bottom line was very important. So I said, okay, I will not do it for individual, but I will do for community. Like in India, we have got 500,000 villages where we have got midday meal programs, where the government, to encourage children to go to the school, gives them free meal. So I said, if I can put the schools, in such schools, the solar cooker, the food can be cooked on solar cookers, the children learn about solar technology. So we started it as a community cooker. And touch wood, because of the comforts, here you can see two dishes of 10 square meter reflecting light in the kitchen. With each dish you can cook for 50 people. And each dish has a tracking mechanism. There is a clockwork which keeps on moving the dish along with the sun. So it's like a sunflower. And now you can cook in the comfort of the kitchen. Next. So this is the kitchen inside. And what you see here is a solar flare. Now the temperature in this dish is 500 degrees centigrade. With this, it's just like a gas cooker. You can control the light that comes in your kitchen. So you can do it on, off, high flame, low flame, just like you do with your electrical or gas cooker. That is by controlling the light. If you close the window half, only half the light comes in. So we had to make all the features such that it is like a traditional cooking system. You don't have to really change your cooking habits. Next. Then we started receiving inquiries for big cookers, to cooking for 1,200 people. And we said, it can be done. And people said, no, it cannot be done with what you are offering because it will require many dishes, it will require many cooking places. So they wanted us to put the dish in the terrace and bring the light from top to bottom. which was not possible scientifically. So we said, okay, we will do differently. Why do we need to bring light in the kitchen? Basically, to cook, you require steam or heat in the kitchen. So again, with the German technology, the company where I was working, can you go back? We devised a technology where now we have the same dishes, but the dishes are reflecting not onto the cooking vessel, but onto a heat exchanger. There is water in it, the water gets boiled, becomes steam, and then the steam is sent to the kitchen. So your dishes can be in the terrace or far away from the kitchen, and you are bringing the heat in the kitchen. Next please. Now this is the kitchen inside. The dishes are in the terrace, producing water into steam, and then steam is coming here, and then you can now directly inject the steam into your cooking vessel and cook, or you have a jacketed vessel where you can bring the steam from outside. Okay, I need to go slow. But I want to tell so many things. Fine. So this is the way now you sort of cook in the comforts of the kitchen. The advantage was that not only are you cooking free, because the energy is producing solar energy, but you're able to cook in the comforts of your kitchen. You're able to cook very quickly. You can cook 35 kilograms of rice in 12 minutes because you are directly injecting the steam. There is no smoke or soot in the kitchen. So that was this technology we started scaling up, and this was the first system we did, which was the world's largest cooker, cooking 15,000 people food 2 times a day. That is 30,000 meals per day. This was for a temple in South India. Next. And suddenly we realized that now we cannot be just a scientist or an engineer, but we need to have a multidisciplinary approach. Because I know and control the technology of solar dish, but suddenly we have to now calculate the wind loads, the load of the building. Because here you see we have about 110 dishes sitting on the terrace. The weight of the system is 60,000 kilograms. We have to make sure that the building does not collapse. So now we have to learn the structures, dimensions, how to okay, sorry. To transfer the load of the buildings into the column, beams, and so we started integrating, we started expanding our team and bringing in people who had different skill sets. Next. This is another system which we did for a university where there was a hostel for 15,000 students. So now we not only give them the steam for cooking, but also the hot water for bathing in the morning. So we started making hybrid systems. Next. And this is now the world's largest solar cooker, which cooks 50,000 meals per day. It's for a temple in Maharashtra called Shirdi Temple. And now technology changed. Instead of 2 dishes reflecting onto 1 heat exchanger, we have a single dish of 16 square meter reflecting onto heat exchanger and producing steam. So the system became a bit compact. Now we don't have to have those structures, to reflect on one angle. I will not go much into technology. I just want to take you through how we kept on evolving. Next. So here you see here we have 73 dishes of 16 square meter to produce 4,000 kilograms of steam to cook for 50,000 people. Sometimes the problem is that in terrace, you don't want to put your system because you want your terrace for yourself, for either drying your products, or here this is a parking place for IBM, IT company. So they park the car below the solar cookers and they still have the system on the terrace. Next. This is a system which not only looks very nice, this is the world's highest solar cooker in Kashmir, in the Himalaya at 3,000 meter height. But I like to show this photograph because a lot of people consume solar energy with heat. And they say, oh, solar energy will work in India because it's very hot. But it will not work in Europe or it will not work in Korea. It's not true. A solar system works on light, radiation. So the temperature outside is minus 15 degrees centigrade, but the system works better than it will work in Rajasthan or in Sahara desert. So a solar system has to work with radiation, not with heat. Next. So this was for the Indian Army. So you can see the traditional way of cooking. They had oil-fired flames and they were cooking. And you can see all negative elements of the cooking. You have the soot, you have the smoke, you have the dirty kitchen, you have those large vessels where you have to work manually. Next. The same system, after we had installed replaced the cooking with steam, you can see the kitchen became a lot cleaner, easier, and nicer. Next. Next. So you have seen we started with temples, we went to hostels, we went to universities, we went to army, we went to jail, we went to industrial canteens. So we started expanding our market and found out that steam can not only be used for cooking but for so many applications. I'll show you what. Next. Here again what you see is there's a big dish here, reflecting the light here and reflecting on the cooking vessel. But what we are doing is we are not cooking. Next. You see what we are doing is we are making potato chips. Now potato chips is also cooking, but no, it's not just cooking. See, there is poverty in villages because a villager produces a perishable food, a product which if he doesn't sell in 2 days, he has to throw it away. So if a farmer sells potatoes, maybe he gets 50 cents per kilogram. But if it converts the same potatoes into potato chips, he will get $3 per kilogram. So first he gets 6 times more value, plus he can sit on it till he gets a better price. So you can empower him. So I think the big application for solar technology would be in food processing industries, where with solar energy you can convert perishable food into non-perishable food. Next. Here we see a working on solar bakeries, where you can now bake bread, biscuit, cakes and all. Also, the idea is how can we create value addition and employment at local level. And the technology is such that you can do it all with local available resources, the material, the technology, the skill, the installation and application. I came across an article in Time magazine which said that the First and the Second World War was because of oil, but the Third World War is going to be because of water. And it's already happening in India. We have got big water fights. The states are fighting with each other for the rivers, who has the right. There is a problem between Bangladesh and India for the water. So I think water is a big problem. So we said, why do we need to fight about it? Why can't we do what nature does? Why can't we drink? Because 97% of the water in the earth is in the sea. So if we can convert seawater into drinking water, which nature does by heating the water and evaporating and creating clouds and raining. Same thing to with our solar concentrator. So you see a dish here which is reflecting light onto the seawater. The water evaporates, you condense it, and you make distilled water. It's a drinking water. Next. This is Mr. Scheffler. So this is a multi-effect evaporator where you recover the heat. Too much technology, but the idea is that if you were to just evaporate the water, you will get only with one dish 24 liters. But by making it multi-effect, you can get 72 liters. So suddenly we found out that with this technology, we don't require government support. There is no subsidy required because now this is a project which is viable because a person, a villager, can make water in the village and sell it to his community and even to cities. So the local resource is again possible, the sun, which is free. With the technology, he can now create the income for himself in the village. Next. This is an application which I don't know whether it's applicable in Korea or other countries, but in India, we have 700 million Hindus. And when we die, we need to be burned. So if you multiply 700 million Hindus into 200 kilograms of wood that is required to burn a body, you will find out that there is not enough wood in the country to burn all the Hindus. So we have started making solar crematorium to burn our dead bodies with solar energy. And what better way to go to God than to the solar energy? Why should we take the smoke along with us? We can go the natural way. Next. Then someone to joke with us says, hey Deepak, you are giving me heat when it's already hot. Can you not give me air conditioning when it is hot? And I realized that's a great market. If I can do that, I can change the world. Not because only I make people comfortable, because I personally think that just like as I said, agriculture is the place where energy is required. And if we can bring cold storages into villages, then we can again conserve food, products like vegetables and fruits, where a farmer can sit on it till he gets a better price. At present, a farmer gets only 6% of the income. The 17% goes into food processing, which is done in the cities, 40% goes into transport and packaging, and then 30% goes to the middleman. So a farmer, a producer hardly gets anything. So if you were to break that chain by having cold storages or food processing or solar drying, we can reverse the economy. Next. So we started working on air conditioning. So this you see, there are 100 dishes producing steam, and now the steam is used to run an air conditioning plant called vapor absorption chiller. And we have done an air conditioning for a hospital of 100 ton, which is about 350 kilowatt, where a 120 bed hospital is now cooled with solar energy. And there's a perfect match. Just when it is hot, you want air conditioning. So there is no need of storage. Next. Then also the problem was that there are many things which you cannot do with steam. So what you see here is instead of now making the heat into steam, we have a oil going into the heat exchanger. And now you can produce hot oil and you can store the energy and also cook at night or use it at night when the sun is not there. So storage also can be solved very easily. Next. We have started working on solar power plants. Because as you know, the whole world is talking of power plants and everybody is talking of megawatt scale. In Germany, now people are talking of 1 megawatt to 15 or 50 megawatt power plants, solar power plants using photovoltaic. And I think that's not right. I also sell solar photovoltaic, but my heart is for solar thermal. Because when you produce electricity from sun rays, in photovoltaic you only convert 15% of the energy into electricity. The rest, 85, is not used. In solar thermal, if you make it, you are getting 20% efficiency for producing power, plus the waste heat which is coming out can be used for desalination, drying, and the efficiency can be as high as 80%. So I think we need to also use even sunshine very resourcefully and not just for electricity. Because by cogeneration you can get heat and electricity both. Next. We are also working on wastewater evaporation. We have kept on increasing the sizes of dishes. So we have gone into various applications. Next. 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 Then suddenly we realized that all this technology are great, but the problem is people still cannot afford it. I started for the villager, and now suddenly I started supplying systems to army and hospitals and temples, which was making me good money. But my main purpose was to go back to the villages, so I started tapping into carbon credits. I said, how do I now get carbon credits for the project which I do, because I am saving CO2 next. And so ours was the first project in the world to get gold standard, which is a very high premium rate because it's socially and environmental friendly project. The dream was, how do I take the technology to the village? And this is where you see, again, as I said, we started a smoke-free village next. And we started it very nicely. Basically, we realized that you can now fry, you can boil things next. So we went, whenever we give lectures, we went in Austria, and then we were invited to give a lecture at a solar day in Austria next. And we spoke to the school children, and the school children were so excited, they started using solar cooker, and they started selling products made on solar cooker in the market, and then giving money to India for donating solar cookers to the schools in India. And then we got the idea, if the school children can do it, why can't the villagers do it? Next. Because now when you have solar cooker, you can do so many things. You can now bake, fry, make cakes, boil things, and also this is a product which could be sold. Next. So first thing was, how do we bring the technology to the village? So the technology was that the solar cooker is in a small kit, do it yourself, so you can take to villages. Next. We teach them how to assemble, so the technology comes to village. The villagers assemble it themselves, so there is a sense of ownership. Next. Then we teach them how to use the solar cooker, because that's a very important part. We just can't give a technology and walk away. Next. Then you sort of convince them that yes, this technology works and so many things are possible, so they have a lot of confidence in themselves. Next. And we teach them to how to make your biscuits. Next. Or how to fry items and make it. So we started making income generation. Because what we realized was that microfinancing alone would not help. We were very, of course, we are very proud of Yunus and his success because it's Asia's success. But we realized that microfinance alone does not help, because the villagers said, even if you give us the solar cooker on credit, we don't want it because our wood is free. We know we should not cut the wood, but we are poor, so that's the only way we can survive. So why should we replace something which is free with something which costs us money? So we realized microfinancing alone does not help. So now, what our slogan is, you pay from your profit, not from your pocket. So we make them help grow products or solar cookers. We help them sell the products and they pay out of the profit, which they do not mind. I think when you talk of honesty, the poor people are more honest in the industry. Industry will look of depreciation, tax benefit, bankruptcy. A poor man cannot, because there is a lot of social pressure on him. So and we combine the technology with biogas, so that you can also continue the activity even when the sun is not there, because there are still 60 days in India in monsoon and you cannot use the solar cooker. So we realize that again the local resource can be combined with the system hybrid. Next. So in this village now, when we have 26 biogas plants and 26 solar cookers, not 13, we have been able to reduce the CO2, we have been able to do the wood, we have been able to save LPG, and we also created fertilizers. Next. And for me, this is the most pleasant picture. Initially I started showing a woman carrying wood. Now when the women, when they come for training, they don't go back with the wood, but they will go with the solar cooker. I think so there is a hope for, I call it the dish of hope. I'm glad to see the dish in Korea and that it's been made here. Thank you very much for your patience. Sorry for my speed and time.